one other point before I get to the technical stuff. All of this transition, all of these changes that are happening, they had nothing to do with my education or PhD, at the institute that I did it from. I didn't take any classes on Najdism over there. I didn't have any quote unquote shubuhat exposed from that university. On the contrary, no doubt the university shaped me in many ways for other aspects, and I've spoken about that. But in this issue of Najdism, in this issue of understanding the definitions of Tawheed and Shirk and whatnot, really it was my own da'wah to the people and masses, and to become one of the icons and leaders of that movement for so many years, and to see the harms that these types of teachings are causing, and to see global events that are linked to these types of theologies. That's what's shaping my views and my changes, nothing to do with my education. Another point I'd like to also just mention for the record, not that it's a big deal at all, but I mean, a lot of people are associating me with a particular sheikh in Mecca of the Ashraf, of the descendants of the Prophet by the name of Dr. Sharif Hatim al-Awni, and they're saying that I am basically his student and I've taken from him. Again, for the record, I want to be very clear here, and my colleagues at Al-Maghrib Institute can testify to this. Actually, interestingly enough, I don't want to mention his name, but you can figure out from the context, one of the senior people of Al-Maghrib, one of the people, I still, a good friend of mine, I love and respect him, I hope the feeling will always be mutual, that when I began approaching him and constantly going back and forth, he was the one who said, "Ya Yasir, you sound a lot like Hatim al-Awni." I'm like, why is he saying the same thing? He goes, yeah, haven't you read his writings? I said, no. And of course, I'd heard of him, but I haven't read his writings until that point. And so he's the one who introduced me to the writings of Shaykh Hatim al-Awni. And so I started reading, and I was like, this is what I've been saying. This is it right here. So I discovered those teachings, and I came to these conclusions before I read Shaykh Hatim, and my colleague at Al-Maghrib can testify to this, right? And once I discovered him, then I contacted some of his students, and I visited him, and we discussed, and we continue to discuss, and we are on the same wavelength. But I want to be very, very clear here. Nothing that it wouldn't, I'm not astaghfirullah, if that were the case, there's nothing I'm ashamed of, but no, Shaykh Hatim did not influence me. Shaykh Hatim's writings did not cause me to change my worldviews on this issue. On the contrary, I discovered him after I had come to my conclusions, and not knowing that I'm not the only one. There are many other people out there, and I do encourage all of you to listen to Shaykh Hatim al-Awni, a great alim and sheikh, and somebody who's gone through pretty much the same thing, because he was Najdi, Salafi in his younger days. And then what he is saying is basically what I am saying as well, which is what the bulk of the ummah says. Now, I left, as I said, all of that teaching. I stopped, I did a sharp turn as well in my lectures. If I don't view talking about the mistakes of other practicing Muslims to be the best use of my time, and I've really, moved on from that da'wah. But I never explained in detail why. And as I said, this lecture is meant for those whom I feel they have a right over me. That's their haqq on me, right? At the end of the day, I acknowledge that I introduced many people to Ibn Abdul Wahhab, one of the most prominent. I hope this doesn't come off as a boast, because I'm not proud of it anymore. But I think after Bilal Phillips, I would have been the one that was the most instrumental in introducing the ideas of the Najdi movement to the English-speaking world for a long period of my 20s and early 30s. And the books that I wrote and the lectures that I gave are all the manifestation of that. Now, I think it's only fair that now that I've moved